Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, folks. You know the Cleveland Browns are no strangers to drama, especially when it comes to their quarterback situation. We've seen it unfold over the past few weeks, with some surprising moves and even more surprising rumors swirling around the team's roster. And right now, the biggest question on every Browns fan's mind is, what's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders? Could he be the next player to be traded before the NFL's trade deadline on November 4th? Well, let me tell you, it's not just idle speculation anymore. The buzz is real, and it's coming from some pretty reputable sources, including Gilberto Manzano of Sports Illustrated, who recently dropped some serious hints about the Browns' intentions regarding Sanders. Since late August, the Browns have already traded away 2 quarterbacks, which in itself is quite unusual. They moved on from Deshaun Watson's backup and from Joe Flacco, indicating that the team has been actively reshaping its roster behind the scenes. But now, the talk is about a possible third quarterback being on the move, and that brings us straight to Shedeur Sanders, the rookie out of Colorado who has garnered a lot of attention this season. Sanders was drafted with high expectations, especially given how much buzz he generated before the draft, and even more so because of his famous father, Deion Sanders. But here's the kicker. The Browns seem to view Shedeur differently than some of their other rookies, like Quinshon Judkins, Carson Schwessinger, or Mason Graham. The Browns' coaching staff, led by head coach Kevin Stefanski, appears to be leaning heavily on rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel as their starter. Gabriel has been a steady presence, managing the game well with no turnovers in his 3 starts and leading the team to a 1-2 record in those games. That might not sound impressive on the surface, but in today's NFL, managing the game and avoiding costly mistakes can often be enough to keep your team afloat. However, it's clear that the team's brass isn't fully convinced Gabriel is the long-term answer. Despite his steady play, there's still plenty of uncertainty about whether he's the franchise quarterback that Cleveland has been searching for. And that's where Shedeur Sanders comes into the picture. The Browns, fan base and local media have been clamoring for him to get more reps, especially with the first team, even before the season started. So the idea of trading Sanders before he ever takes a snap in a real game is a controversial one. It could be seen as a bold move, but it also could be a move driven by the team's desire to maintain stability and perhaps avoid risking losing either Stefanski's job or GM Andrew Berry's position if Sanders doesn't develop as hoped. The team might believe that Gabriel offers a better shot at sustained success, at least for now. Stefanski was recently asked about Sanders getting first-team reps in practice, and his response was telling. He explained that with a young quarterback like Sanders, you want to give him as many reps as possible, but since Gabriel is starting, the team needs to focus on him. Stefanski admitted that Sanders is still getting reps, but the implication was clear. Gabriel is the guy they're riding with for now. That's a significant detail because it hints at the team's mindset. If they're seriously considering trading Sanders, it's probably because they don't see him fitting into their future plans, at least not at this moment. Now, let's talk about the implications of trading Sanders. The NFL trade deadline is always a tense period. Teams scramble to either bolster their roster or shed cap space and assets. The Browns' current situation with Sanders is complicated. They invested a 5th-round pick in him, moving up to draft him, so logically, you'd think they would want to see what he can do on the field before letting him go. But the market for Sanders isn't exactly booming. The Dolphins, for instance, made headlines last week after benching Tua Tagovailoa, which sparked rumors about whether they might be interested. However, the Dolphins are also considering a rebuild, and moving on from a quarterback like Sanders might not make sense for them right now. Other potential landing spots could include the New York Jets or the Las Vegas Raiders, both teams that have had their struggles at quarterback this season. The Jets had multiple opportunities to draft a quarterback in April's draft, but chose to pass. And the Raiders, like the Jets, passed on Sanders despite their known needs at the position. Now, after about 8 weeks of NFL action, it's hard to imagine either team changing their minds. They've already committed to other options, and the idea of acquiring Sanders at this point seems like a long shot. Plus, the Browns might be hesitant to trade him to a division rival or an AFC opponent that could face them in the playoffs, adding another layer of complexity to any potential trade. And let's not forget the value aspect. The Browns traded up in the draft to select Sanders, giving up a fifth-round pick to secure him. So, where's the value in trading him now? If they trade him, would they get a comparable return? The Browns have already traded away players like Kenny Pickett and Flacco for fifth-round picks, so it's not like they're unfamiliar with dealing at this level. But trading Sanders for less than what they invested could raise questions about the team's long-term vision. Why invest so much in a player and then move him so quickly? It's a delicate situation, and it's one that could define the Browns' season, either as a step back or a strategic move to better position themselves for the future. Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are no strangers to tough decisions, especially in recent years. The Deshaun Watson saga, with its massive contract and the questions surrounding his performance and health, has already put a spotlight on the franchise's decision-making process. Moving Sanders now could be seen as another gamble, either a way to clear the deck for Gabriel or to recoup some draft capital. But it's a gamble nonetheless, and it's one that could backfire if Sanders turns into a star elsewhere, or if the Browns' current plan doesn't work out. While the trade rumors swirl, the real question for Browns fans is, what does this mean for the team's outlook? The AFC North is as competitive as ever, with the Ravens, Steelers, and Bengals all vying for supremacy. Cleveland has been trying to find consistency at the quarterback position for years, and this season, it feels like they're at a crossroads. Do they stick with Gabriel and try to build around him, or do they roll the dice on Sanders and hope that the young gun can develop into their franchise quarterback? The answer might come before the trade deadline, and it's a decision that could shape the team's future for years to come. Looking at the bigger picture, the Browns are a team with a lot of talent on defense and a solid run game led by Quinshon Judkins. Their defense, especially with players like Mason Graham, has been a bright spot, and that's why the quarterback position is so critical right now. They've been close in many games, but the inconsistencies at quarterback have often been the difference between wins and losses. Whether they decide to go all in on Gabriel or take a shot with Sanders, it's clear that the team is trying to find that elusive spark to push them into serious playoff contention. And let's not forget the fans' perspective. Cleveland fans are passionate, and they want nothing more than to see their team succeed. The idea of trading Sanders before he even gets a real shot is controversial, but it also reflects the urgency the team feels to win now. The Browns are in a rare position. They have a talented roster, a passionate fan base, and a window to make a deep playoff run. How they handle this quarterback conundrum could determine whether they're contenders or just another team fighting for respect. So as we approach the trade deadline, keep your eyes peeled. The Browns could surprise us all with a move that shifts the balance of power in the AFC North. Or they might hold tight, trusting in Gabriel's steady hand and the young talent they have on defense and offense. Whatever happens, one thing is for sure. Cleveland fans are in for an exciting ride this season, and this quarterback saga is just getting started. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Now looking ahead, the Browns have a lot to consider. Their current roster is built for success, especially defensively with Mason Graham anchoring the line and Quinshon Judkins providing a spark in the backfield. But without a clear-cut franchise quarterback, their ceiling is limited. If they decide to trade Sanders, it will be a bold move, one that could either pay off big or come back to haunt them. It's a classic case of the NFL's high-stakes chess game, and Cleveland is right in the middle of it. The team's coaching staff, led by Stefanski, has been under pressure for a while now. The decision to bench Deshaun Watson early in the season, the ongoing debate over Gabriel versus Sanders, and the overall inconsistency have all kept the spotlight on their leadership. Moving Sanders might be seen as a sign that they're doubling down on Gabriel, trying to give him every chance to prove himself. Or it could be a strategic move to clear space for a different plan, perhaps even a rebuild if things don't go as hoped. The trade market for Sanders isn't exactly booming, as mentioned earlier, with teams like Miami, New York, and Las Vegas reportedly not showing much interest. The Dolphins, having recently benched Tua Tagovailoa, might seem like a logical destination, but their own plans for rebuilding or retooling make it unlikely they'll pull the trigger. The Jets and Raiders, on the other hand, have already passed on Sanders in the draft, which suggests they're not sold on him at this stage. That leaves Cleveland in a tricky spot. Do they hold on to Sanders and develop him, or do they cut their losses and try to recoup some draft capital? And let's consider the long-term implications. If the Browns decide to trade Sanders, they need to get fair value, which is no easy task. The NFL trade market is often unpredictable, and teams are reluctant to give up too much for a rookie quarterback with limited experience. The Browns will have to weigh whether trading Sanders now makes sense, or if they should give him more time to develop, especially considering their recent investments and the need for a long-term solution at quarterback. In the grand scheme of things, Cleveland's quarterback situation is a microcosm of the NFL's broader landscape, teams constantly balancing the present with the future, trying to find that elusive piece that will unlock sustained success. For Browns fans, it's a nerve-wracking but exciting time. Will they see Sanders develop into their franchise quarterback, or will they trade him away for the promise of future picks? The answer might come sooner than you think, and it will undoubtedly shape the team's trajectory. As we get closer to the deadline, all eyes will be on Cleveland. The team's front office has a tough decision to make, and whatever they choose, it'll have ripple effects across the AFC North. The Browns are no strangers to high-pressure situations, and this one might be the most pivotal of all in recent years. Whether they commit to Gabriel or move on to Sanders, the stakes couldn't be higher. Cleveland fans, brace yourselves. This season just keeps getting more unpredictable and more thrilling. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe Sanders should stay and get a fair shot, or do you think trading him before the deadline is the right move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. Thanks for sticking with me, and let's keep the passion alive for this incredible team.